So my name is Indigo Parlin. I currently serve as international trustee to CNH Carolinas and MNDAC districts of Key Club International. Last year, I was the webmaster of the Rocky Mountain District. So this webinar is just going to be a little training session on how to be a webmaster and resources for being a webmaster, as well as a Q&A session at the end. If you have any questions, you can just go ahead and save them for the end, where we'll have like time set aside to answer those questions. So with that, let's dive right in. So today I'm just going to be doing my presentation content, which is kind of like the core of the training. We're also going to play a quizzes. I was going to do Kahoot, but I didn't know if we'd have like too many people and I'd have to pay for it. So we're doing quizzes, and then at the end, the question and answer session. So one other thing to note is that obviously you guys are all district webmasters, since there's more than 33 of you. You might be a club webmaster, you might just be interested in the position. You're all welcome here. This presentation is geared towards district webmasters, but there is going to be a lot of good info if you're a club webmaster or a bulletin editor, doing social media or managing a website. So yeah. The first thing that you're going to be doing as a district webmaster, first and foremostly, is managing your district website. The level that you manage this really varies by district. For me, I basically managed like the whole website. I created the whole R&D website, managed all of the parts of it. I was liable for it. So that might differ by district. But what your website needs to include, for the pages, include an about page that explains like what is your district, what is Key Club, an events page, both for international and district events, district officer contact info, your board meeting minutes for your district, resources. Resources are probably the most important thing to have on your website. It's going to be the reason that members go to your website typically. This can include awards applications and information, graphics. Also, in addition to that, brand guide standards are a good thing to have on your website. Board application, how to get connected with alumni or the Kiwanis family in your area. A map of your district is always really important for people that are not in Key Club and they want to know like how can they join, where can they find a club. And then also bylaws are important to have on there, in addition to links to your social media, links to the international website, and a contact form. So with that, your website design is also a pretty important piece. Make sure that you're following the brand guide. The brand guide is available on keyclub.org. Make sure that your website is easy to navigate with lots of pictures. Pictures are really important because they increase the validity of your website. If people go on a website and there's like no pictures, just like a lot of text and it's kind of sketchy, if they're not already in Key Club, it might not be very convincing for them to join. And then also, if you're liable for your website, and even if you're not, make sure that you have consent of all of the people that are in pictures and videos on the website, just for legal purposes and to respect them as well. So here are a few examples of homepages for some Key Club district websites. In the top left, we have CNH CyberKey, which is a really, really great website. Lots of resources on there. We have the New York District Key Club one, the P&W. I love the P&W website because they have a lot of really nice graphic design. And then in the bottom right, you can see the one that I made for the Rocky Mountain District last year. And I'm actually going to go ahead and show you the website I made last year just as an example. So here we have the homepage. I try to make it like pretty neatly laid out, and the webmaster this year did change some things, so this is exactly what I made, but on here we have all the different pages, which are pretty easy to navigate. Over here we have all of the resources. Publications are important, so in here we have all of the district executive newsletters. And then a cool thing that I did when I revamped our website and changed to this one is I allowed a place for each lieutenant governor to kind of have their own like section of the website that they could personalize, put their newsletters in there, but then they also were able to choose like background images, or if they wanted to include like a cool bio or anything like that. So that was really great. And then one other thing I wanted to add with your website, blogs can be a really great resource for members that are or people that aren't already in Key Club, so they can see like, what is this organization. This blog has like, we didn't use it a ton this last year apparently, but we talked about different events. Our bulletin editor gave an inside look at the district board. This can allow like a longer entry for board members to post and to get their voice out there that maybe you couldn't do on social media. Anyways, back to here. So the next thing I'm gonna touch on is managing district social media. And once again, this can also go for club or division social media. So when you're starting out managing the social media, you need to decide what sites you're gonna continue to use. And it's very likely that you'll already have a division or club account from like last year, in which case continue using those. One thing that I did in my term as webmaster is I narrowed down what social medias that we used. The previous webmaster before me used all sorts of social media. We had a Rocky Mountain Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat. So we had like all these social medias, but the thing about them is that the posting wasn't very consistent. There wasn't a lot of posting happening on all of them. So what I did as a webmaster is I cut it down and I primarily used Instagram and YouTube. We did post on Facebook and Twitter quite a bit, but definitely not as much as those main two. And that's just because the majority of our membership and interaction happened on Instagram. So we really honed in on focusing on that one social media and making it the best that we could make it. The reason I love Instagram is not only does it have most of our members on there, it also has a lot of really cool features like stories, which is really good for like sharing other people's posts. It has Instagram Live for live streams. It has IGTV. And because of IGTV, you honestly don't even need YouTube, but YouTube can be a really good resource for those longer videos. Secondary platforms, as I say here, Twitter and Facebook could be a really helpful social media to utilize, but it really depends on what your district is using, what your membership, what your audience wants. And then lastly, my disclaimer, I would not recommend using Snapchat. Like you can if it works for you, but Snapchat is basically like Facebook Messenger, and it's primarily a messaging app, and the stories feature isn't great for sharing information because it disappears after 24 hours and people can't refer back to it. And then in addition to that, a lot of people don't share content that's shared on Snapchat because you have to screenshot and then repost. It's just not a super great social media for getting information out there. It's more of a messaging app. So with that, what content to post, that's obviously like a really big piece of social media. I've been seeing a lot of Key Club accounts posting member highlights and club highlights, highlighting, different service projects. And that's been really great to see, because Key Club International is built to serve the members. So using our social media to highlight the members is one of the best uses. Updates and announcements about events. That's really important to be putting on social media, especially for general members. That's where they're going to primarily get all of their information rather than newsletters. Also, sharing content from other Key Club International accounts is great. We don't need to reinvent the wheel when we're creating content. So sharing contents on your story or reposting is a great way to have content. Contests. I've utilized social media contests in both of my terms, so both as a webmaster last year and then as trustee this year. That can increase engagement and can help you like increase your followers and your interaction. So I always would do like swag giveaways, and as a trustee, I did a Key Club t-shirt contest, and I was able to send that out to the winner in California. So that was a really cool contest. International and district initiatives, we always are doing different things like Truly International or, Trick or Treat for UNICEF. So making sure that members know about those projects so that they can participate. Service partner highlights. A lot of our general members don't know a lot about our service partners or like why we're partnered with them or what they can do to help. So those are always great. And then for me, I've noticed that videos have been a really, really great way to increase engagement on my social media. So we did a thank you video for essential workers on the Key Club International account, and that went really well. And then for me, I facilitated an inter-district project between CNH and MNDAC to do like a thank you, like Dear Key Club thank you video. And we were able to have the members participate in that by recording themselves, and then I edited it together. And that was really good because they were able to see themselves on the social media and share it with their friends, like, hey, I was in this video. So videos always go really great if you can have as many people as possible participate in them. And I've also noticed that videos are really great as educational resources. So promoting events or explaining what events are, explaining different initiatives. One video that I made for my district Instagram this past year was for Key Club Week, where I kind of just went through like each day, like what is the title for the day? What does that mean? What do you have to do to participate in it? And that got shared a lot. It got a lot of interaction, and I like to think that it really promoted Key Club Week and helped more people participate. So just a few other things to keep in mind for social media. Creativity is key. That's gonna increase interaction. Make sure that you keep with the brand guide. Make sure that you stay safe key, which is kind of like a CNH term which they coined, which basically means like make sure that your content is appropriate and in parallel with our international values and vision. Also, make sure that you are consistent with your posting. Like I said, the webmaster before me, he was great, but he kind of had like really weird intervals for posting. You know, like it'd be like 6 posts in 6 days, and then 3 months later, 1 post, and then 3 weeks later, 1 post, you know? So making sure that you have like pretty consistent posting, you're not spamming your followers, but you're also not leaving them informationless. Make sure that you're showing them that you're still active and your district still being active. Also, grammar is important, making sure that we maintain our professional image on social media. And then lastly, I wanted to mention media insights. So on Twitter, automatically you can have media insights, and I think for Facebook and Instagram, you have to have like a business accounts. But media insights are really great because they show you how different types of posts are doing. So on this page, this is a screenshot of some of my district Instagram post insights, and I'll kind of walk you through them. So on this post insight on the left, we can see that this post didn't do super great. It got 61 likes, but there was no shares, no comments, or anything like that. Not super great reach. On the next one, you can see this had definitely more interaction. It has a lot of shares, bookmarks, and likes. More people reached. You can see that 80% of the people that it reached weren't following me. The next one, you can see like even more interaction. And then on the one on the right, like that's like the most interaction that I got on my account. So basically, the post on the left was a service partner highlight, which was basically just like a picture and some text explaining the service partner. And it didn't get a ton of engagement. The second one was the thank you Key Club video. So it definitely had a lot of shares of people, you know, hey, I was in this video, posting it on their story and things like that. The third one, that was my Key Club Week video where I kind of explained what Key Club Week was about. That got a lot of shares of people wanting to share that information with their divisions and clubs. And then the one on the right was a post just talking about the Black Lives Matter movement and how we as Key Clubbers can create change nonpartisanly and really just like support each other in this time of need. So as you can see, those are kind of different types of posts with different types of interaction, and going through my post insights really guided me for what I should post in the future. So this is kind of 360, we're going to a different topic now, but as a webmaster, you might have to be a person that provides online resources to your district board, and you need to be well versed in them as well. So I wanted to provide you guys with a few resources that I use a lot and I would recommend to other Key Clubbers to use. Go ahead and take a screenshot maybe of this so you can, you know, go through it later. So Google Suite, everyone knows what Google Suite is, but make sure that you're really well versed in docs, slide sheets, how to create shared drives for your district, how to create shared calendars for your district for meetings, how to create pre-planned meetings in Hangouts and Google Meets. And then another part of Google Suite that I just recently discovered was Google Keep, which is a note-taking app that you might want to look into. It could definitely be something that's used during board meetings to take notes. So yeah, Google Suite is great because it's also backed up online. So super great for key clubbers and high schoolers that might not have access to the same computer over again. Yeah, that's what was my experience as webmaster. So it was really nice to have Google Suite and have everything backed up automatically. Canva is an online graphic design editor. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of it, but it's really great for creating presentations. I made this presentation with Canva, making flyers, social media posts. The majority of my social media posts that are designed graphically, actually probably all of them, were made on Canva. It's super easy to use with the brand guide. They have a lot of fonts that are really close to our brand guide fonts, and it's also really easy to put in the brand guide colors and graphics. Just a super simple tool. MailChimp is another good resource. It basically allows you to create a sort of like newsletter, and then you can mail it out to a mailing list, and you can have like multiple mailing lists depending on who you want it to go to. And it can be used in conjunction with Canva. So you could like create a PDF newsletter, and then you can import it into MailChimp, and then you just have to kind of put the little PDF images in, and then boom, your newsletter is good to go. And then lastly, Calendly is an app that I started using recently. It's also online, but it helps with like meeting scheduling, and it's just super easy to use. I know like a lot of governors or lieutenant governors try to do calls with their club presidents or lieutenant governors every month, and it can be really hard to schedule, and they try to do it in Google Sheets, and then times get changed, and it's just super complicated. Calendly fixes all of that. So if you've ever had those problems, I would definitely look into it. You can make a free account, and then you just create time slots that people can sign up for. And then if turns out they're busy, it's really easy to reschedule or cancel. So yeah, I would definitely look into Calendly if you have district board members or yourself need help with scheduling a lot of calls at one time. Other things that you might have to do as webmaster, and this really varies by district, but I thought they might be worth mentioning. You might have to run tech at board meetings. That was something that I wasn't necessarily prepared for going into my position as webmaster. I was more like the, I guess, social media side of things, not really like the tech guy. I don't know how to explain it, but there's like different types of webmasters, and we have different strengths. So if you have to run tech at your board meetings, projectors and different things like that, make sure that you know like all of the tech that you're going to be using. YouTube is just a great resource for learning everything. So if you want to like look up like, hey, how do I use a projector? How do I blah, blah, blah? It'll probably be on YouTube. Also, you might be asked to keep an eye on the social media of your district board members, and making sure that the content that they're posting is appropriate. I know I had to do that. Of course, it varies by district if you'll have to keep an eye on your district board member social medias. And then lastly, you might have to run your district email system, might be through Google Suite or something else. But make sure that you get in contact with whoever was the webmaster or the person that ran the email system before you, so you can learn how to do that, because it can actually be pretty complicated, even if it's just like Google Suite. So yeah, those were all the things that I could think of that were kind of like obscure tasks of the webmaster, but the majority of them kind of lie in like the website and social media aspect. So one more thing, don't forget to apply for Distinguished Webmaster at the end of your term. All of the presentation content that I just presented was in line with the Distinguished Webmaster requirements. So you can find that application and what you need to do to get that award on the keyclub.org website under award resources. Webmaster is a pretty new position to international. Only in recent years has it become a pretty like widespread, every district has a webmaster position. So definitely I think applying for Distinguished Webmaster will like help to kind of solidify like our community of webmasters, since we're one of the newer positions in international. So with that, as I said, we're going to do a quizzes, and if this doesn't, we're gonna see if this works, because I'm not sure if it's gonna work. But if you have like a phone, I think this will work. I hope this works. Okay, so if you go to this website and then enter the game code, I would just ask that you put in your first name, last initial, and then, yeah, let me know if this is working. Yay, someone came in. Perfect. This is gonna be like Key Club trivia, so it's not gonna be like super hard. I'll give you guys like 2 more minutes to get in case you're having tech problems. If anyone is having problems getting in, let us know in the chat. It reached the limit. Oh, dang it. Okay. Can you guys type in the chat if you still want to play? Because it should be pretty quick, but I don't want you guys to sit around and do nothing. Okay, we'll do it, and then hopefully it'll be fast so the people that didn't get in aren't sad. I'm so sorry that, okay, I'm so sorry, but yeah, okay. This is so entertaining to watch, like the board. It looks like most people are finishing up, so I'll give you guys like 1 more minute. Nice. Awesome. Good job, guys. Thank you for playing, and congrats to Andrew, Alyssa, and Noah. All right. With that, sorry that we cannot have more people participate. That makes me sad. But with that, let's go into questions. And during this time, you can ask me questions, anything to do with Webmaster or international or just Key Club in general. So let me pull that up. Okay. Thank you, Kelly. How much of the platforms that you use are paid? If they're paid, is it paid for by the district, fundraise for, or paid with your own money? How can we follow the guidelines with Canva? Okay, so I think I don't use any platforms that are paid. All of the ones that all of the resources that I suggested earlier are free, and they typically would have like premium versions, but I get by with the free versions. I know some districts though will be willing to pay for certain programs. I know like G Suite is not free. So my district I was Webmaster in, that they paid for like our G Suite, and other resources might also be paid for. And then lastly, how can we follow the guidelines with Canva? So for me, that was something that I actually worked on at the beginning of my trustee term. Was I would look online for Canva fonts that were like close to like Century Gothic or like Verdana, and I like made like a guide. I wish I still had the guide. I got a new phone, so I don't know if I have it anymore. But you can definitely look up online on the internet what fonts line up closely with our brand guide fonts, and go from there, because I know some of them aren't free, and I definitely don't think that you guys should spend any money for your volunteer Key Club work. So yeah, definitely look into like really close similar fonts. Where do you go to find the distinguished webmaster requirements? So you're going to go to keyclub.org, and I believe there's a tab called resources, and then you're going to scroll down and there's going to be a box that says awards. From there, there's going to be a section that says distinguished tabs, and then there'll also be another section for distinguished. Check both of those sections. I don't remember which one it is, but it'll have the webmaster requirements, and it'll also have pages on there that you can print out for when you make your webmaster binder. Where was I? Some of the graphics I've made for Key Club. I don't have some right now, but if you want to go to my district Instagram, it's at MinCalinas. That's MINN_CAL_INAS. That has a lot of my graphics on there, and then you can also like watch my story today. There's a lot of graphics up there for the international convention. How do you import Canva presentations into Google Slides? So what I did is I made this presentation in Canva, and then in the top right corner where you have the options to like download and things like that, I think I imported it as a, I exported it as a PowerPoint presentation, and then I don't even have PowerPoint on my computer. I don't have like Microsoft Suite or whatever, but I think like you can still do it. So I downloaded it as a PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, and then I uploaded it into Google Slides from the Microsoft PowerPoint, which is like a really long process, and there's probably an easier way to do it, but that's how I did it. Any tips to engage more members to participate through social media? I kind of touched on some of those, but definitely I would say contests and making content that's really shareable, like videos and graphics. Those are always really good. That increases engagement because like more people will see the post if more people share it. Sorry, the questions keep like scrolling down as they come in, so sorry, I keep having to scroll up. How did I become district webmaster? Right now I'm just division tech editor, and I love to be district webmaster. I think in most districts, webmaster is an appointed position, not an elected position. So for me to get the position, I applied for my district board and said that I would be love to be district webmaster, and I got appointed. I don't know of any districts that have webmaster as an elected position right now. So I definitely talk to your governor, your lieutenant governor, about how your district does webmaster appointments or elections. What do I use to edit videos? I use a lot of different things to edit videos, and I usually will use multiple video editors in one video. So for my district Instagram, a lot of those videos on there were actually recorded with TikTok, just because it's like a really easy editor for those up and down videos. Primarily though, I use iMovie. I believe it's free now for Apple products. I also, sometimes I just use like really obscure like editing apps if they have like a certain feature, like they can make like things like glitter or like that. I also have recently used Visco Montage, which isn't free though. That one's not free. But yeah, I usually use like a lot of different editors to create one final end product, but TikTok and iMovie the most. What did I use to make the website? So I'm interested in like computer programming and stuff like that, but I know nothing about it. So I used Wix to make the Rocky Mountain District website. It's really easy to use. And I just saw someone were creating a website using Wix. Yes, Wix is totally cool. You don't have to, you can pay for a domain that doesn't have the Wix site thing in it, but if you don't have that, that's totally okay. But yeah, Wix is super easy to use, super easy to make sure that you're in accordance with the brand guide. For me, making that whole website with all the pages and everything, it took like probably a month with like quite a few blocks of hour-long, sections making it. So it does take some time, but it's definitely a lot easier and more user-friendly than programming it yourself. So go ahead and use Wix. Do club hosts and websites need to follow brand guide to a T? Not necessarily. No one's really gonna get mad at you for that. And I know the brand guide is kind of repetitive right now. And our board actually is working on revamping the brand guide, and that's something that's actually going to go in plan next year. So there's going to be new colors, fonts, and graphics that you guys can work with. For now, especially at the club level, you don't need to worry about using the brand guide. Of course, you want to have a brand, you want to try and incorporate it, but you don't need to follow it to a T right now, especially since we're revamping it. What was the app you mentioned is great for sharing newsletters? Oh, MailChimp. So that's M-A-I-L and then chimp as in like chimpanzee. It works like in accordance with Canva. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Would you say this position is hard or difficult? This is my first time being an officer. International trustee is a weird position because you take a lot of different roles. There's definitely like two parts to it. There's the international board part, serving on the international board, serving on the international committees. And then there's just this completely separate part, which is working with your district boards, working with your governors, being an emotional support for your governors. I would say it is hard, but I would also say any leadership position is going to be hard and it's going to challenge you, but you're going to be a better person from it. I've definitely had ups and downs in Key Clubs, in Key Club. In all of my positions, I've been a lieutenant governor, a club secretary, and then webmaster and international trustee. All of them came with their specific challenges. All of them were really challenging. All of them made me cry, but I feel like I'm a better person because of it. So I would just say, like, if your position feels hard, just keep going, and it's gonna turn out well, like no matter what. I mean, look at my term. COVID, everything happened, and we're still here. We're doing this international conference. So how often do you need to update the Key Club website? So the international website is actually in the hands of Key Club staff. So we don't actually, the international board isn't actually able to do any updates on that. For my time as webmaster, I updated the Key Club website for RMD as often as I saw needed. whenever I saw like information wasn't accurate or we needed to add more information. And then of course I updated it monthly with all of the monthly executive and lieutenant governor newsletters. What are some ways you can easily expand a social media platform that has not been used often? I think it depends on how many of your members are on that platform. Because if you don't have a lot of members on the platform, it's not going to easily expand at all. For Instagram, I keep referring to that one because that's one I have like the most experience in. My district Instagram started really, really small, not a ton of followers. It really expanded when I started sharing like videos and like educational resources, and people started sharing that a lot. And I think we grew like 300 followers, which for a district Instagram that's only used for like 1 year, that's pretty good. How often should we send out newsletters? It depends on your position. As a trustee, I send out newsletters every 2 weeks. But if you're a lieutenant governor, it might be once a month. If you're a club president, it might be, once a quarter. It just depends on your position. How do you go from club webmaster to district webmaster? Kind of touched on this earlier. It really depends on your district. You'll need to talk with your lieutenant governor or your district governor about how district webmaster is decided. How do you coordinate social media campaigns? Okay. It depends on the type of campaign. If you're doing a contest or something like that, it might be better to like make a graphic explaining the contest and post it on like your main account. If it's something shorter, like a shorter campaign, it might go on like your Instagram story. Right now I'm doing kind of a campaign on my district Instagram for international convention where people show off like, what are you wearing to summer leadership conference? Are you wearing pajamas or are you wearing business professional? So that's a campaign I'm doing on my story. And since it's not gonna be a super long campaign, like a few weeks, it's just gonna be these 3 days. That's why I did it on stories. But yeah, I would just, when I do social media campaigns, I make a graphic that explains the campaign so people know what's going on. And then I usually enlist some of my friends to kind of kickstart the campaign. So even if you go on my district Instagram right now, you'll see that me, Brandon, and Irene, we all did my SLC, what are you wearing, in a campaign right away. And that's just to show people like what it is. So yeah, kind of, I would enlist like district board members or your friends to like help kickstart your social media campaign. For people who are unable to join the quizzes. Okay, unfortunately, I don't think that you'll be able to access the questions somewhere else, but it was mostly just like random trivia, like who is the international president? So hopefully you didn't miss much, but I'm also really sorry that you guys weren't able to all do that. I'm sad. But what was an example of the contest you talked about? I did a t-shirt contest. I kind of briefly mentioned that. I think, oh yeah. So what I did for that is I had people post on their story how they're staying engaged with Key Club during COVID-19 and then tag me in it. And so then I would repost it. And then I did a drawing, like a random number generator to choose one of the people that posted. And then I sent them a Key Club t-shirt that I had. Other ones I did, I forget like what I had people post. I think I had them like share something on the Rocky Mountain District Instagram, and then I randomly chose someone that got like a swag bag at DCON. Anonymous attendee gave a really good tip at the questions. It says, if you look up Key Club Brand Guide Cheat Sheet Canva Edition, the Texas Oklahoma District has a resource. So anyone that was wondering about that, I would definitely go look at that. Why did you want to be webmaster? What drew you to this position? I have always been like really interested in like social media interaction and engagement, especially coming from such a geographically large district of the Rocky Mountain District. We cover Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, and parts of New Mexico. It was really nice to like utilize social media to connect us across such a geographically large area. And then also I'm like pretty into tech. Like I told you guys, I'm really interested in like computer programming, not good at it. It's my intended major though. So I was kind of interested in like the tech side of things and building websites and things like that. Is Webmaster similar to editor? It definitely can be similar to editor in the way of like social media, making graphics and things like that. It's definitely different. I think some people define editor differently. I don't know if your club editor is also in charge of the website, but one big difference could be if you manage a website or not. Um, Also, people will start seeing you as the tech guy, even if you're not really good at tech. Like I wasn't like the tech guy. I was more like not that. Yeah, I was not that. But people will definitely like see you as that if you're a webmaster and expect you to like know a lot of tech things. What are the steps to becoming a webmaster? For me, it was just applying for the position and showing that I had interested in tech and I had experience with social media and building websites using Wix. And that's what I did. You served in an office position all 4 years. How did you get so involved in Key Club? So I attribute like a lot of my involvement, like early involvement in Key Club to my first club president. She brought me to my first international convention 4 years ago in Texas. She was the one that, like when we were at international convention, she's like up there, like that can be you in the iBoard one day. So definitely my club president was really encouraging and showed that I can be a leader early on and that I have an important perspective to share, and that if I take the initiative and if I work hard, then I can create change. So I definitely attribute a lot of that early participation to her. And then I'm gonna go to the chat now. Oh wait. Have you done any project fundraiser using social media? Yes, I have. I've done more personal fundraisers using social media than like Key Club fundraisers, but I'm sure you guys have all seen like the Instagram bingo cards. Those are really great. You could post on your story and then people will like Venmo you a certain amount for a charity. And then you can donate that like as one big sum to the charity. I've done that with the Thirst Project, and I also did that for a Black Lives Matter initiative personally. Social media, especially right now, is a really great way to fundraise, and especially those Instagram bingo fundraisers. I've seen so many of them be so successful. So my answer to that is yes, I have done some. Are there certain sections that we should have with the club website? I would say make sure you have an about page. That's really essential. Make sure you have resources. Make sure you have contact information for your officers. And especially at the club level, it would be really nice to have like when are meetings, where are meetings, what are the next projects coming up. And then something else that my club does, we don't do this through a website, but we always have a form available through Google Forms where people can send us in suggestions of service projects. Okay, and I have about 1 more minute because I have to hop onto the Thirst Project workshop, so I'll answer just a few more questions. How does the Instagram bingo work as a fundraiser? So it's hard to explain. It's basically like a story, like an Instagram story, and then it'll have like a 5x5 column thing, and in each column there's like a number. It's like $5, $1, $2 in each little piece, and then people can Venmo you that amount, and then you like cross off the part of the bingo with their name and try to get a blackout for all those donation slots, and then some districts don't let people do this because it's a lot on the merit system, but you would take what has been donated into your Venmo and then donate it to the organization. And then typically people will like post like a receipt of their donation on their story to like prove that they donated it. But it works really well because a lot of people are like, yeah, I'll donate a couple dollars to this and, you know, get a shout out on my story. All right. Okay, I'm gonna answer one more question. What was one of the hardest things as IT? That's hard because trustee was literally just ups and downs. Probably for me, one of the hardest things as trustee was trying to balance Key Club, because on the international board, Key Club is a big part of your life: calls, traveling, creating newsletters. Um, so that was hard, while also trying to apply for college, which I was really behind on all the time, and scholarships and things like that since I'm a senior, and AP. Just like balancing everything was like really hard for me. In addition, like I know like of most Key Clubbers, at some point during your Key Club journey, you're gonna have like family issues, and that was this year for me. So I would say the hardest thing was trying to balance everything, but I definitely learned a lot about reaching out to my peers, reaching out to the rest of the international board and to my governors, letting people know what's going on, communicating what's happening in my life. So it definitely taught me a lot, and I feel like that's going to be a really important skill for the rest of my life. So yeah. In conclusion, I am so glad that we were able to have so many people come. You know, over 100 people was way more than I expected. And I'm also really glad that all of you guys are able to come to our online convention. You guys can always reach me at my email or through Instagram direct messages if you have any questions. But yeah, thank you so much for coming, and enjoy the rest of your conference. Bye.